What? You're not no, you can't come through that hole. That's for goats. That's for goats. And all you want to do is come here and pick on them. This old fig tree here took a beating last year during that ice storm. You see this big limb here broke completely off, and there's one on the other side I know is broken. And I'm gonna trim a little bit of it, I think, so I can get down there and burn it. There's a lot of dead limbs in here. I got this little old hand chainsaw for Christmas, and I've never used it. And I'm gonna see how it works on this little old trimming job here. Sophie, I don't need you. You ain't got no safety goggles on or nothing. You're not being safe. I'm gonna see how it cuts. Let's just see. Well, it does cut. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Cut right on through it. That's a pretty neat little guy. I'll get in there. I'm standing on the outside the fence and cutting these things and try to trim out all the dead stuff before spring gets here. And I hope this tree comes back. I hope all of it didn't die out. It was a heavy producer, and I'm just hoping that it'll continue to do that. Yep. Yeah. Cut this off this fence here. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. I like it. And it comes with 2 batteries, and a charger, so they start getting a little slowing down. I'll just get the other battery and charge the other one up. Anyway, getting off this fence. I can get in there, and I have this little fence around it to keep those goats. Goats would chew the bark off one and kill them. So, same way with my pear trees. I have little fences around my pear trees too. And I'll show you here what little damage they had done before I got this one fenced. Goats would reach over. Well, it's about growed back now. It had some places up here they'd chewed the bark off and ran up on it down the side. It's healed. It's pretty well healed up now. So anyway, that's a little project I'm doing, and I even want to come back in here and pick on these goats. So I cut this off right a little bit. Hey, today's Friday. Yeah, just a beautiful day here. It's probably 70 degrees and there's not a cloud nowhere. And very light wind out of the south, and it's actually a lazy day. It's a day I just want to kind of lean back here in my chair and close my eyes and take a nap. I was reading an email this morning from my friend Barb. She worked for a quick store here. Kind of coincides with my life a little bit. Well, in a way. She worked for this big multi-million-dollar company 30 years ago or so, whatever. And they were expanding. And she must have been really good at her work or in her job, and because they came to her and they were expanding to 2 different cities. And they offered her an opportunity to go to either city and head up the new company or the expansion. And they were going to, you know, pay all expenses of her moving. They're going to give her a big raise. They was even going to pay off her house where she was moving from, or sell it for her, whatever, and help her get settled into a new home. And that's a lot of stuff for a company to offer a person, you know, for them to go and so she must be really good. But I got to thinking, it's kind of like paying her to go and to go. And I'm thinking, I work for some places that probably would have paid me to leave. Yeah, maybe, Barb, maybe that's what they was doing, paying you to leave. I'm just picking on you. I was reading some other emails about, and I love these stories I get. Some of those home remedies. This lady was telling me about, she had warts when she was a child on her hand, and some old home remedies they used to get rid of them. And I'm not even going to go into and she's from West Virginia. Now get this, West Virginia is probably a whole lot like East Texas. But my dad had home remedies, and some of them was kind of crazy. But I told you about some of them. But the worst one I ever heard come from her, and it was y'all leave that hen alone. Yeah, I know. It's Friday. Was an earache. Now, we used to put what they call sweet oil, heat it up, put it in your ear if you had an earache when you was a kid. Maybe put a cotton ball, or, you know, call it in your ear, kind of keep them running back out, and lay down, take an aspirin, whatever. That wasn't so bad. I'm not even going into detail about how these folks cured an earache, but I might ought to say pumpernickel here, but I'm not. I'm not going to say it because it's not. Well, it is kind of gross. They would take. I may should not even tell this story. It's kind of strange. I'm just going to skip it, folks. I'm not going to skip it. They put something else in their ears, and I'm not going to go there. It's just a liquid. You can figure out what it may have been in their ear. It had to be from a certain person. And I'm so glad my dad didn't know that. I'm so glad. And I'm glad I never drove up when I was a kid to West Virginia and spent the night. It had been bad. But yeah, they take this body fluid from a pregnant lady. It had to be a pregnant lady for some reason. And that's what they'd put in their ear for earaches. Now, can you imagine? I can't imagine that. I love you guys. It's okay, Barb, you can come back on now. I sat there talking to my baby, and beautiful day again. Have y'all ever met, especially old ladies? I mean, sweet. My old grandma was one, but both my old grandmas were. They were so sweet looking and kind hearted and just gentle looking, and come to find out they may not have been that way at all. Well, they may really been. Look, I'm gonna tell this story. You're gonna leave my head alone, okay? No, you can leave my head alone if I'm telling you a story. Now, my little girl here, she says she's heard enough of these stories. When I first got out of the Marines, you know, you come out of the Marines, you at least if you come out of infantry, you know, you've been overseas back in that era. you're not really trained for anything besides looking through a peep sight. That's about all you've been trained for. And so you've seen the world, you saw it through a peep sight. And so you're not really trained for anything. You come out and you was freshly married or had been for like 18 months and had a baby, and we come back home, you know, and what kind of work am I qualified to do? Well, you're really not qualified for anything unless you're going to be a sniper. not a lot of calls for them. So you go out, you start looking for jobs. And I ended up seeing an ad, the local light company, utility company was hiring. So I go by there and I fill out an application, and you got to kind of consider the time of, it was 1968, and Vietnam was probably at its height, you know, and drought was big, so there was a lot of warm-blooded American boys with that behind them, you know. So they hired me, maybe out of desperation. But the only job they had at the time was a meter reader. Now, nobody likes meter readers. You see a meter reader coming, even though you use their service, you see him coming, then you know right behind him is going to be a bill. So you associate meter readers with a bill, whether it be a gas bill, light bill, in this case it was, whatever. And we went house to house to house, you know, on a certain route, reading these meters. And I got very good at it. And they give you so many meters per day, and it's supposed to last you for 5 days each week, you know, Monday through Friday. Now, it didn't take a full 8 hours to read your meters, but there's a lot of driving involved. They furnish your truck, a lot of driving from house to house, especially rural routes. And a lot of my routes are out in a rural area. But I'd run those routes, and one of the first days on the job, now I'm talking about maybe the first day, and I go to this house, and there's this sweet little old lady sitting in her little rocking chair on the front porch. And, hi, how you doing? You know, just as sweet as she could be. A granny that you'd just love to sit there on the porch and chat with. Give her a hug. So anyway, so I walked by and I stopped long enough to, you know, some pleasantries, you know, how you doing, you know, and all this stuff, what a beautiful day and stuff. You got in there, you can get out. Yeah, they went there where I was cutting that fig tree, and now they're trying to figure out how to get back out. I'll let her out in a minute. You got to wait. I'm in the middle of a story. Anyway, so I start going around inside the house to read the meter, and I see this little collie, look like a little collie dog, tied to the house blocks right below that meter. And that little dog was worked up. Boy, he was on a chain, and he was just jumping at that chain, jumping at it and barking at me. And she says, "Oh, don't worry, son, he don't bite. He don't bite. It's okay." Yeah. So he's on a chain and he can't reach me, so I stand way back and I read that meter, you know, and I go on. There's another meter at another house right behind it, like in a little apartment complex. So I just walk on back there. Now, either that little dog was smarter than he looked, or that sweet little granny got off that porch and unhooked that dog. Because when I come back, he's still sitting there, but he wasn't hooked. He wasn't hooked to that chain no more. And here he come. Now, I was young, I was fast, and me and him had a race to my truck. He's faster than I was. And so lucky I was wearing boots, because he tore my britches legs almost off. Hey, baby, come listen to the story. So I want to hear it too, Pawpaw. I want to hear a story. I love stories. I know you do. And so you gotta You got to always wonder, are they as sweet as they look? From that point on, I was always leery when I got to that house and that little lady sitting on a little porch. Oh, hi. Yeah, where is that dog? Where's that killer dog you got? Just want to tell y'all that story. You know, anyway, I did those probably for about 6 months before I got over into the line crew and become a lineman. They sent me to school to learn how to climb poles, and I didn't like it. But I stuck with it for 2 or 3 years. But climbing up them on poles, working on electricity, it was not a fun job. But anyway, we'll talk more about that another time. I'll catch you guys later. Watch out for the most sweet ladies. I don't know if this is going to work. My little grandson Lex, you guys have met Lex. He loves a bathtub. When he comes on the weekends, the first thing he does when he gets here, hang on. The first thing he does when he gets here is he runs the bathtub full of water, gets his wrestlers, and gets in the bathtub, and he'll soak. He will literally soak for an hour or so, playing with his wrestlers. Well, as you know, Gigi got where she couldn't step over the edge of the bathtub. We had to take it out and had to go buy a regular shower to go in that space. So he came last weekend and there was no way for him to play with his wrestlers. I felt so sorry for him. He didn't complain, but he went in and looked around a little bit, and he took a little shower, come back out, and his little wrestler still sitting there in the little tote. And I told you, I'm gonna get him some kind of a little bathtub, portable, so when he comes, he can put it in there and put his wrestlers in it and run some water in it and enjoy himself. So I got one. They're not expensive, and I'm gonna put it together, see how it goes together. And when he comes this afternoon, he can take it there and sit in the tub, run some water in it, dump his wrestlers in there, and get in there and enjoy himself. So I'm gonna be cutting this camera on and off while I get this thing all put together. See how it works out. All right, I'm laying the parts out, and you know, have you ever met them kind of guys that don't read instructions? Well, I'm one of them. But you know what? There are no instructions in here. So, Gigi can't blame me if it don't look right when I get through. Did you read the instructions? Well, no, baby, there's no instructions in it. Just a picture on the box. This is the parts. I'm going to put it together. So, I'm going to get started. And as I do a little progress, I'll show you guys. Whew. I got it done. And this is a drain here, and there's also a drain inside. And just take this little thing here, set it inside the shower, and he can put some water in it and get in it. And he can take a little bath with his toys. It's gonna be cute. And then we get through, just drain the water out. And G said, you'll fold right up. Well, I'm not going to fold it up. It's enough job putting it back together. I'll take it and dry it out and bring it out here and put it in the storeroom until the next week. And it'll be safe in there. Nothing can get to it. Because it wasn't hard, but let me show you. These ends have curves. And getting those curves through here was a little difficult, and getting them through there right was a little difficult. The first time I had it a little bit kind of lopsided. I had no pictures. That's the only picture I had. But it come out pretty good. And these little legs go down through the liner, which keeps it from, you know, coming apart. It'll be, I think, pretty neat. We'll find out this afternoon when he gets here. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut this thing off and get it out there to you guys next day or two, 3 or 4 days, whatever. And hope y'all enjoyed this little video. Wasn't much to it, but just hanging out with Pawpaw. And remember, don't listen to them old sweet ladies. Beware of sweet ladies. They'll get your dog bit. All right, I love you guys.